Hey, what is up guys, welcome to Flat Tutorials. This is the UI series. Now there are a couple of things I want to tell you guys before I go ahead in this video. Now you guys probably already know that the Unity announced a couple of months ago, actually they have announced that they will gonna release some new UI tools or UI system in Unity 4.6. Now Unity 4.6 isn't out yet, but a beta is, so you can go ahead and download that beta. I'm gonna leave a link down in the description below so you can go ahead and check it out. So once you download that beta or any other version above 4.6 and installed and you launch Unity 3D, right off the bat you're gonna notice a difference in the interface. That is, there used to be 4 tools, but now there's one more. It's called the Rect Tool. Now if you have been creating games using Unity's 2D engine, which is Box 2D, or you have been playing with sprites or anything like that, you already know how to use this tool. But for our new students, or whatever you want to call it, for newbies, I'm going to show you how to use it. So if you go ahead and create a UI element, you can go ahead and go Game Objects, UI, and create a panel. Now there are a couple of things different here also. So they have a lot of categories now. There used to be only one category, which is called Other Objects, and that contains 2D, 3D, light, and audio, and miscellaneous, some legacy particle systems. But now we only have we have these all different categories that defines all those objects. So 3D objects consist of those primitive objects and trees, terrain, and all that. A light consists of directional, point, spot, and area light. Audio contains of audio source and reverb zone. UI contains of all these elements that we're going to talk about in this series. Now once you go ahead and create a UI element, it could be a button, anything. I'm just going to create a panel. So once you create a UI element and you select the Rect transform, you can control this UI element using that Rect tool, or whatever you want to call it. So consider this panel as a sprite, because it is basically a sprite, but consider this as a sprite, and you can see there are 4 handles of this sprite. Now this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Now the triangles one, I'm talking about the blue ones. Triangle ones are the anchor points. Now I'm going to talk about the anchor points in later videos, not right now. So let's just focus on this blue dots. Okay, so you're gonna select your Rect tool, and if you try to put your mouse on any of these sides, you're gonna notice that your cursor turns into a new, actually a pointy cursor, which points the direction you can drag this sprite to. So if you hold your mouse and then click and hold and then drag it, you can resize the sprite or the panel, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so you can same for the left and right sides and the bottom. Okay, so if you wanted to rotate this sprite or UI element, what you're gonna do is go to any of these handles, and you're gonna notice that your mouse or the cursor turns into a circular icon. Now what you wanted to do is click or left click and hold that button and move. You can see that you can rotate the sprite or the UI element. Okay, so this was about the the Rect tool. Now let's get to the main tutorial. Okay, so so let's just create a UI element and talk about it. Okay, so if you go here and you can see that we have UI, the first element we see is panel. So that's what I did. I created a panel, right? But instead of a panel, I got one more game object. It's called canvas. Now and the panel is a child of that canvas game object. Actually, I wasn't expecting that, but this was supposed to happen. Okay, so take this as an example. If you are an artist and you draw portraits of people on the street, okay, so you must have a canvas where you can draw the faces or the people on, but without the canvas you cannot draw it. Now if you paint it on the wall is your canvas. If you paint it on a paper, the paper is your canvas. So you must have a canvas to draw a GUI element on. Now you can go ahead and create UI and create a canvas, and then import and then create a UI element and use that. But if you don't have a canvas in the scene and you try to create a new UI element, you will automatically gonna have, or Unity will gonna create a canvas for you. So that's really good. Now let's talk about the canvas element. Now the canvas element have a rect transfer, which we will gonna talk about in the later episodes, not right now. But let's focus on the canvas element. What canvas element does? So it has a render mode. It says screen space overlay. Now this is good for the 2D purposes. Now basically the orthographic purposes. Let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, I'm gonna launch the scene. Sorry, this one right here. Okay, so this is just a normal scene that I created using a panel, a slider, a button, and a text. Okay, so this is a canvas basically, and the canvas consists of a panel. The panel consists of a button and a text, slider, and one more text. Alright, now you can go ahead and I'm just gonna run the scene and I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. Okay, so if you set it to screen space overlay, it is good for 2D purposes. Now you're gonna want to see, you're gonna want to notice that the rect transform on the canvas is disabled. It's because you cannot control the position and the width of the canvas, because it is driven by the camera. It is controlled by the camera. You cannot change any values inside of the rect transform if it is set to overlay or screen space camera, because I'm going to talk about it later. Okay, so if I in screen space overlay, it is good for 3D purposes and orthographic views, because you cannot have a perspective viewport in the screen space overlay mode. So if I wanted to rotate the panel, you're going to notice that there is no perspective. It is just being distorted as an orthographic viewport. Okay, so if you wanted to have a perspective viewport, what you wanted to do is you're gonna want to set the canvas to screen space camera, and you're gonna want to assign a new camera to it. So I'm gonna assign my main camera to it. Now what's gonna happen is when I assign this camera to the canvas, now this camera, this is the only camera that can see. Hold on, I'm going to go ahead and go canvas. I'm going to set the screen space camera, main camera. There you go, and you can see that this camera is controlling, or you can see the canvas is always going to be in between the frustum or the field of view of the camera. So if I go ahead and change some properties, if I go back over here, and we're going to go plane distance. Now what this will going to do is it will going to automatically resize the canvas for us according to the distance between the canvas and the camera, so that all the UI elements in that canvas are going to be same. They're not going to be different. Okay, they're all going to be in the same amount of size, or they're all going to cover the same amount of space on the screen as they were before. So if I increase the plane distance, it will going to resize automatically. Okay, so it doesn't really affect that much. And once you have this mode on, the screen space camera, this canvas is not visible to other cameras if you have multiple cameras in your scene. So if I create a new camera, I'm going to disable the audio listener so I don't get the error. So I have a new camera right here, and there is also main camera and the camera. Okay, so if I play this, play the scene, you can see this camera is being rendered. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the -1 depth. Okay, screw that. Okay, there you go. This camera, this is the only camera that can render this canvas because it is set to the render camera in the canvas element. But if I disable this camera and enable the other camera, which is not set to the render camera in the canvas element, it will not gonna be able to render that UI, that canvas. So this is also a way to sort between the cameras, easy way. Okay, there are a couple of things I want to talk about more. Okay, so if you go here and in the canvas, we have one more thing called so let's talk about the perspective viewport first. Okay, so if you have a screen and space camera and you have a camera set to it, you can use a perspective effect, or anything you want to say it. You can use that effect to create some awesome, cool looking stuff. So if you can have rotations in the UI elements, which are child of the canvas. Okay, so if I rotate it, you can see that it is using perspective viewport, and still I can access all these elements in the canvas. Okay, so this is one great use of the screen space camera mode. And the third mode we call is the word space. Now what this means is one more thing, if you have these two modes on, the screen space overlay and the screen space camera, you will have a disabled rect transform component. Now if you set it to word space, what you're going to notice is rect transform is now enabled. Now you can use it to move your canvas around. It's because it is not being driven by any cameras or any other script. So you can go ahead and move around your canvas, and it can be used as a 3D object in a scene. So I'm going to show you a great example of that I created in just 15 minutes or so. So this is the scene that shows the use of the canvas in word space mode. Okay, so you can see this is my player that I can control, the blue guy, and once I get close to this guy, you can see that it shows a speech bubble consisting of an image UI and a text UI element. Okay, so you can see it works great. Okay, so as you can see, it is a canvas, which is basically a child of my trash talker guy. So I can, if I push this guy, hold on, if I push this cube, you can see the speech bubble is gonna move with him, because the canvas is a 3D object now. It can move around, it can interact. Okay, so canvas is a child of the trash talker, which is just a cube. The cube, the canvas, that canvas consists of an image UI element and a text element which says "sup." Okay, in the image element, I have created an animation, so I'm going to show you that animation. Okay, so this consists of two animations. The first one is speech bubble, so it shows speech like this, speech bubble like this, and the second one is just gonna roll that out. Okay, so it's just gonna roll that out, and in the animator view, you can see that they are connected to each other, and there's only one parameter that I'm using. It's called show, and it is a boolean. Now I'm going to show you these scripts, but they are irrelevant, but still I'm going to show you these scripts so that you can understand what is going on in the scene. Okay, so this is the trash talker script. Now this is a variable trigger at player, and anim as an animator. Okay, so trigger at is a value that checks if the distance is smaller than this value, then go ahead and show that speech bubble. Now once the start function starts, we're gonna assign the player variable by finding the object with tag, the tag assigned to player, which is assigned to this blue guy player. And once that object is found, we're gonna take that transform and assign to this variable. Now that's why this is a private variable, because I'm not accessing it from the inspector. Third variable is anim. And now this is to access the animation controller, which is attached to the image object inside the canvas element. Okay, so this is basically checking if whether or not the player is assigned or not. If it is not, if it's not assigned, then go ahead and try it one more time. Okay, now here we are calculating the distance between these two objects and checking if the distance is smaller than this or equal to this. Go ahead and turn the show boolean to true, otherwise set it to false, which toggles the speech bubble. And the player script consists of one variable, speed, and I'm moving it using the vertical and horizontal axis and multiplying it to time.delta time, actually fixed delta time because I'm using the fixed update, and multiplying it to speed, so I can have a variable speed. Okay, so let's talk about this scene. So basically the canvas is set to word space. Now this can be once you have set it to word space, you can access you can use canvas as a 3D object in your scene, like I'm using it as a speech bubble in my scene. Okay, now let's talk about the sorting layer. What is a sorting layer? Now if you haven't used the Unity's 2D engine or Unity's 2D system, you might not be familiar with this. So I'm gonna go ahead back to my old scene right here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create I'm gonna rename this canvas to canvas 1. I'm gonna duplicate this canvas, and I'm gonna drag it a bit just over. Hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and into this, and I'm gonna select the panel, select the Rect Tool, and move the panel just by a side. Rename that canvas to canvas 2. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and create a sorting layer. You can go ahead and click on Add Sorting Layer. Click on plus to add a new sorting layer. I'm gonna call it canvas 1. I'm going to create one more layer. I'm going to call it canvas 2. Okay, now if I go back and select the canvas 2, I'm going to set the sorting layer to canvas 2, and I'm going to set the sorting layer of canvas 1 to canvas 1. Now the sorting layer decides which layer is going to render first. So if I go ahead and play this, you're gonna notice that the second element, the first element, I don't know what this element is, but the second element is being rendered before this element. I don't know how to explain that, but okay, bear with me on this. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna adjust these layers, and you're gonna see the effect right here. Okay, so I'm gonna put it up, and you can see this is being rendered first, then this one. Okay, now let's talk about the order in layer. Okay, so if you have both of these layers set to same sorting layer, like default, and one layer is set to 0 and the second layer set to, let's say, 1, what's gonna happen is if you're gonna play it, you're gonna have the same effect. One is gonna be rendered first and then the second one. Now if you set this to a -1, you can see that it is going backwards. It is being rendered before this layer. And now it's because you can also control the layers of same. You can control the same sorting objects with same sorting layer using the order in layer. That's a great tool, by the way. Okay, now let's talk about the graphic raycaster script. And I don't think there's gonna be a stay as a script. It's gonna be like a component, but let's just go with the script. Okay. So the only thing that I find with this object is that you can go ahead and block your clicks using 3D and 2D objects. So let me explain what I mean by that. If you're going to click on your camera, and I'm just going to go ahead and create a 3D object, which is going to be a cube. I'm going to resize it like this and put it forward, play the game, or whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to go ahead and put it as 5, 5, and 5. Okay. So you can go ahead and see that I can control this slider from anywhere. Okay, so I can control the slider, and this cube is not blocking my view. So I can click through it. Okay, I can click through it and my click will be recognized. Now if I go back to canvas and in the graphic raycaster, I go ahead and put it on 3D because this guy cube is a 3D object. It is not a sprite, it is not using any 2D collider, it is a 3D object. So if I try to click on it, I can't, because this object is blocking my raycast, which is being cast from my cursor to the screen. And it is because it is blocking, my click is not being recognized. Now if I go back and set it to all, now this will gonna ignore all 2D and 3D objects, and if I try to click on it, I cannot do that. So this was the canvas element and the graphic raycaster. Hope sure that you guys understand pretty damn well. If you didn't, and if I missed anything, go ahead and leave a question or leave a suggestion or anything you want to say to me in the descriptions down below. There's a link to my Facebook page. If you wanted to talk to me, you can go ahead and post your questions there. And I'm sorry that I haven't been able to answer all of your questions lately. It's because I've been busy. I've been working on 2 other series. Now these, I'm not talking about the UI series, I'm talking about 2 other series that I've been working on. So I've been focusing on that a lot. That's why I didn't spend a lot of time. And I hope that you guys like this video. If you have any questions, leave it in the descriptions down below. If I missed anything, please let me know. If I was wrong in any way, or if I explained you something wrong and you know better than me, go ahead and tell me. I'm open to any kind of discussion or anything like that. I would love to know, because I'm not an expert on UI tools right now. I've been just playing with it, and whatever I know, I just told you. Okay, so I'll see you guys in my next episode. Till then, goodbye.